What do you think, guys? Yeah, I'm asking about the exciting new Apple launch. Gear up, folks. Get ready for the introduction of the iPhone 14. So far, here's what we've learned about new features. Even though the iPhone 13 is still the new kid on the block, rumors have already begun to paint a picture of the so-called iPhone 14. It is believed that the iPhone 14 will be unveiled in September 2022 and will have a drastic redesign, new functions, and more. We've prepared a comprehensive list of all iPhone 14 rumors so far. The most anticipated phone of the year 2022 is the new iPhone. The iPhone 13 was released barely 4 months ago in September. The iPhone received some of the most significant advancements since the iPhone X with its release. It's now time for the iPhone 14 release, so naturally there's more to discuss and share with this impending beauty, from leaks to renderings. Need to get begun without more sound and fury. The size is the first consideration. This year, Apple have chosen to give it a new name that is even more puzzling. The iPhone 14 Max is a unique size option in the iPhone 14 series. It must have the same screen size as the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but none of the Pro features. This one's for those who desired the Pro version's more prominent display, but didn't want to spend the extra $200 to $300 for it. The iPhone 14 will have less powerful hardware, but as we saw with the iPhone 13 Small, Apple optimizes the phone well, even if the technology isn't cutting edge. According to Mac rumors, the iPhone 14 Max and iPhone 14 Pro Max will have a 6.7-inch display, while the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro would have a 6.1-inch collection. While we're on the subject of small, it's worth noting that there will no longer be a mini version. Yes, you've got that correctly and accurately. There will be no tiny version of the iPhone 14 in the lineup. It's because the prior minor versions didn't sell well. Even though the iPhone 12 Small and iPhone 13 Mini were Apple's most significant discounts, they both had disappointingly low sales, and Apple have now chosen to retire both. The most anticipated camera upgrade comes next. It's a new front-facing camera. The iPhone notch is excellent, but when the iPhone X was unveiled, no one was sure it was a revolutionary breakthrough. However, there has been no significant modification in the design over the previous 3 generations. The only variation is a modest reduction in the notch size, otherwise there has been no advancement in this area. On the other hand, Android users have experimented with everything from pop-up selfie cameras to spinning cameras, screen cutouts, and even under-display cameras. Sure, Apple isn't known for experimenting with outlandish ideas, but we should have seen some design upgrades by now. It appears like 2022 will be the year we get to witness that, since it is claimed that Apple will use a hole-punch camera design this year. According to Mark Germany's Power in Bloomberg's newsletter, Apple is improving Face ID to position the sensors beneath the screen. The camera will remain a screen cutout because, let's face it, under-display cameras give an irreversible reduction in image technology, and the technology isn't yet developed enough for popular phones. If you were expecting Apple to reintroduce Touch ID with under-display fingerprint sensors, you'd be disappointed. Not in the iPhone 14 lineup, at least. It's because optical under-display scanners aren't entirely safe, and supersonic scanners are slow, as we've seen with the Samsung S21 Ultra, which has a substantially dead fingerprint sensor despite having a high-end CPU. We must now get back to the drawing board. The front camera isn't the only part of the phone receiving a makeover. The rear of the iPhone 14 is also receiving a makeover. Whilst it's difficult to see Apple making the iPhone thicker only to get rid of the camera hump, it's more plausible that Apple would add lenses somewhat to lessen the camera's protrusion from the rear. Next, we will be moving into the casting in titanium. But before we get into the internals, let's speak about the body. At least the Pro variants of the next iPhone 14 will have titanium casting. However, Apple was already ahead of the game in terms of build quality, employing stainless steel frames when others were still using aluminium frames. The transition to titanium casting is a major one, but it does provide a lot of protection. Unfortunately, it will also result in a price hike. Now, I know you're wondering if titanium can add with heat dispersion, and the answer is no. The titanium casting is purely for further protection and weight savings, which the Pro versions sorely require. Apple is rumored to be exploring a vapor cooling chamber for thermal dissipation. However, so far, vapor cooling chambers have only been seen in gaming phones or high-end phones. While Apple checks the high-end chipset box, they don't require a vapor cooling chamber because the Bionic chipset series has the finest optimization in the industry. As a result, Apple has never experienced overheating or thermal throttling. The inclusion of the vapor chamber cooling mechanism indicates that the processing power of the A16 Bionic chipset will significantly enhance this year. Apple has consistently outperformed Android in raw processing power, but has lagged a little in app unloading times. We may see Apple finally catch up to Android this year, but we shall have to wait and see. It's time to jump into the internals. The iPhone 14 comes with the A16 Bionic. There are two possibilities, and both have credible sources. I'll let you know which one I lean towards after telling you both. First is the A16 Bionic being based on a 4nm chip manufacturing process. It was first claimed by DigiTimes and was what everyone thought would happen. The next possibility, and unfortunately the more likely one, is that we're going to see a 5nm chip for the third year in a row from Apple. This news comes from a report by TSMC themselves. According to the report, the recent new chip will be a 5nm one, but with a more efficient building process. The report claims some performance improvements. However, these improvements will not translate much into the iPhone's performance, since Apple was already using them. As a result, the A16 might not be as powerful as we thought. We will wait a few moments and see what happens in this department, since nothing is sure. Finally, we've got the essential parts of the iPhone, the battery and the ever-mighty iPhone. According to your TSMC rep, the new chip is supposedly 10 times more potent than the previous iPhone 13 chip. It shall not sound like a big deal, but keep in mind that Apple has already blown every other brand and firm out of the water with its battery life. So a tenfold increase in battery life means that you'll never have to worry about battery ever again, which to be honest Apple has already achieved with the A15 Bionic. The new camera system is moving on time. For the camera, Apple has reportedly been working on a new camera system. According to Mac Rumours, we're expecting improvements to the ultra-wide lens. In addition, there's a possibility that the iPhone 14 could get a periscope lens that allows for more incredible optical zoom. According to some other sources, Apple will probably release the periscope lens in 2023. An improvement on the ultra-wide is also much needed, since Androids are currently offering way better viewing angles, although they do suffer in video. And with that, we are done. Let us know in the comment zone which design you're into. For example, should Apple stick with the notch, or is the hole punch the way to go? Make sure to drop a comment to let us know about any other leaks. Stay tuned and make sure to subscribe and tap that bell icon to stay updated on all of the content we will be putting out for you.